And now.
Thank you. Oh, a joke? Who's going to understand a Star Wars joke?
Our rabbi is very serious about Star Wars.
Why did movies 4, 5, 6 came before 1, 2, 3?
Somebody didn't know how to count.
Because in charge of production, Yoda was. It's not for everybody. You need to know what I'm talking about, right? But I want to talk to you today about the real bad guy. Okay, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. But as I was mentioning at the beginning of the service, the concept of Star Wars was always very Jewish to me. Okay? Then I started to discover many things that they are kind of clever, the way they are hidden within the stories. For example, the most obvious one, but nobody talks about it, because I watch videos on the internet and they were trying to connect Star Wars with Christianity and other religions. But I would say they forget a very obvious fact. What's the name of the good guys? The Jedi. Sounds like Judah. But, so if you're a Jew, your religion is Judaism. If you're a Jedi, your religion is? Just saying. Just saying. To me, it's a very obvious thing right there, and nobody talks about it. The other thing that actually makes it very Jewish is the concept of the Force, in the sense that in the movies, they keep repeating that everything comes from the Force. Everything. Right? And this is a very Jewish concept, where we understand that everything comes from God. Both good and evil comes from God. In Christianity, they have the figure of God and the devil, right? But that's not what the Force is. The Force is one that encompasses everything. And this is a very Jewish concept, what both light and darkness come from God. And you can see that at the very beginning of the creation. What is it? Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, right? At the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and then God created light, right? Let it be light. And then it was light, and there was darkness, right? And God saw that the light was good, which is a very interesting thing. The light is the good thing. Darkness is not good, but it's still there. It was still created by God. Why would that be? We don't know, but darkness was created, is there. I would say sometimes it's necessary, but hey, the Torah said that it's never good. It's never good. The good thing about the creation, the good thing about light and darkness is light, which is an invitation for us to learn to get closer to the concept of light and to get away from the concept of darkness. And that's exactly what you're going to see in the movies, where the Jedis try to understand more the light side of the Force, and they get away from the dark side of the Force. But I would say that the number one theme of the Star Wars movie, especially 1 to 6, because there were other things afterwards and spin-offs and things that was more, I guess, to satisfy a group of fans eager to pay for the tickets. But let's go back to the original 6. I would say the number one theme was the concept of evil. Okay? The concept of evil. And to understand the concept of evil that the movies try to explain, you have to be able to follow the saga of Anakin Skywalker. If you follow the life of Anakin Skywalker, you will understand a few things. Number one, you will understand the root of evil. Number two, you will understand the development of evil. Number three, and perhaps the most important, how to overcome the evil and how you can redeem yourself, even if you dedicated your life to evil. Okay? So remember I'm so sorry for all of you who never saw the movies. You're looking at me and said, what is he talking about? Where in the Torah is that? No, it's not in the Torah. Okay? but it's connected. So, back to the saga of Skywalker. Everything starts with this little cute boy, right, on the planet of Tatooine. He was a slave, by the way. He was a slave, but he was very cute, very intelligent, very smart, very ambitious, and he had great aspirations. From very little, he always dreamed with being the greatest Jedi of the entire galaxy and come back and liberate all the slaves and repairs all the problems of the world. Isn't that great? It's great, but childish, right? He has all these ambitions, all this aspiration, all the things that he wanted to do, but he still didn't understand anything about life, anything about the universe. He has all this energy and all this potential, okay? Believe it or not, and this is when it starts getting complicated, even in Judaism, that is a representation of the Yetzer Hara, right? Somebody posted on the chat before, was Darth Vader the Yetzer Hara? No. Or yes, but you understand a minute what it is. Yetzer Hara, which usually we translate it as an evil inclination, is a terrible translation because the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, has nothing to do with evil, okay? It's an urge that we all have. It's the urge that it moves us to do things. It's the ambition, it's the aspirations, it's the physical energy, which is great. But, and I think this is the most important thing, all this Yetzer Hara is deeply related to the ego. So it's all great, but for your own satisfaction. And that is the problem. Eventually we have to learn that not everything is about us. So we need to learn about the Yetzer HaTov. The Yetzer HaTov, or the good inclination, is the moral compass that we all need to develop. And first to learn, and then to develop in order to control the Yetzer Hara to actually do great things for the improvement of the planet and for helping other people as well. The Yetzer HaTov is the one who will tell you, dude, it's not everything about you. There are other people around you. And interestingly, in Judaism, the rabbis say the time when we acquire that Yetzer HaTov is the bar of bat mitzvah. Is when we commit to the Torah. The Torah is our moral compass, right? It's the one that now that our urges are becoming more and more powerful, we are stronger in the force. We need that moral compass to help us to channel that energy into something good. And this is when I have a question for you that is a very important question. So, who is the bad guy in the movies? You see, some people will say it's Darth Vader, but it's not Darth Vader, it's Palpatine. The Emperor Palpatine, which, by the way, when he's presented to the people in the movies, he is presented as a very stylish politician. He's an intellectual. He has this grandfather aura who could become a great mentor for everybody who crosses his path, right? And he gets close to Anakin Skywalker because he recognizes in this boy all this power. And then what he does is he comes to Anakin with great promises. I'm going to teach you everything that the Jedi will never teach you. I will take you to places that the Jedi will never take you. Promises, promises, promises. What was that? That was an attempt to eliminate the Yetzer HaTov that Anakin was learning from the Jedi. And how do you do that? You have to confuse your victim. Hey, this is not something new. I believe this story of Palpatine and Skywalker is also represented in the Torah. Go back again to the book of Genesis, and you will have Adam and Eve, okay? The first humans in the planet. We believe they were good people. They were good people. They have good intentions. They wanted to get close to God. In fact, God was talking to them, right? And then the snake comes. And the snake says, look, you have to eat for that fruit. But God said, no. What does God know? You know, God is afraid that if you eat from the fruit of the tree of good and evil, you're going to become like God, right? How is that for a promise? If you eat from that, you're going to become like God. Will you eat it? Well, Adam and Eve did because they believed the snake. And now what they did, and this is fascinating, the interpretation of the rabbis, that fruit of the good and evil, what did was to put inside them good and evil without being able to distinguish which one is which. So now the good and evil was blurred because they put it together inside their bodies in one element. And what about the promises to become like God? Where did they go? Nowhere. Because the snake came to Adam and Eve with false promises. Why? To be able to manipulate them. So the snake represents pure evil. The pure evil has the capacity to control you through your Yetzer Hara by confusing good and evil. That is the fascinating thing. So Darth Vader is the one who ate the fruit. So was he really evil? He wasn't an evil person. Look at Skywalker from when he was a little boy. He was just confused because all of a sudden, a slave boy from Tatooine became a slave to Palpatine. And his Yetzer Hara was enslaved by this pure evil represented by Palpatine. So the evil, what it has to do is to exploit your Yetzer Hara if you don't develop that moral compass, which is the Yetzer Hatov. Now, and this is why I believe that Star Wars has so many beautiful messages for everybody in every generation. Because I look at the news, and you probably saw the news, all these encampments everywhere, right? And universities and things. Are those kids bad people? Probably not. Probably not. But they have this urge to do good. They really want to do good for the world. But all of a sudden, they have the Palpatines confusing their Yetzer Hara, blurring what is good and what is bad. If you go back to the movies, at one point, Obi-Wan Kenobi tells Anakin, said, Anakin, Palpatine is evil. What did he answer? Well, from my point of view, you are evil. And this is exactly what we are looking around in the world. When somebody said to kids, said, don't you see all these terrorists are evil? And they said, well, from my point of view, you are evil. That is, unfortunately, somebody who ate from the fruit of good and evil, and now the line is blurred. So how do we get out of there? Let's go back to Star Wars. Eventually, Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader, right? Which is also important. Because what do we do in Judaism when somebody has a new mission? We change their names. Abram became Abraham. Sarai became Sarah. Anakin became Darth Vader. But the people who loved him kept reminding him of his name. You will notice that. Said, hey, you're Anakin. Darth Vader was saying, that person is dead. That doesn't matter. The people who loved him kept repeating his name. No, you're Anakin. Eventually, Luke Skywalker, at the end, is the one who is able to remind him that he was actually Anakin Skywalker, and that cute boy from Tatooine was still there. And because all these people never gave up on him, he was able to come back at the end to the light side of the force. In other words, he was able to overcome the evil, to get closer to the lights once again, even if it was for an instant, and to repent. Again, the concept of teshuvah. To the point that eventually Anakin Skywalker dies. And you will see in the next scene in the movie that he is in the spiritual world with all the Jedis. The sense that his teshuvah was accepted and he is now pure once again. So what do we learn from here? We learn that despite of all the things that we look around, we should never lose faith in humanity. We should do the best we can to remind them of their name, of the essence, to remind them that there is a light side. And we are not going to be the one falling into the dark side. We are going to be the one, we keep talking about the light. We don't fall into the trap of the Palpatines. We don't let our anger loose. We keep committed always to the light, because the Torah says that light is the only option that is good. Darkness exists, but it's not good. So this is a beautiful message that we learn. And the other thing that is interesting is Skywalker, or Darth Vader, was not the only one who ever returned to the light side. And there is another connection to the Torah there. Look, I brought my lightsabers here to show you. You know what happened with somebody who was a Sith will return to become a Jedi? Because there were cases like that, not in the movies, but if you read the books, there were some cases like that. Let's see if this is the red. So what happened is, the red has to be healed. There has a process, because the lightsaber will have a crystal inside. So it will have to be clean. And eventually, when the person returned to the light, the lightsaber went from red, can you guess the color? To white. To white. And if you go to Isaiah 18:1, you will say, even if your transgressions are red like the scarlet, they're going to become white like the snow. It's a coincidence? I don't know. May the force be with you.